modern intellectual cocktail party. It's about things like politics.
Is this good for the country or what?
The economy. All too much. This is just all too much. A bunch of things that I think I know about, but I really don't know about. Hey, so listen, I love having you guys here at my house. We always have a modern intellectual cocktail party. And we were talking about things like healthcare last time we were all together, but today I want to talk about like the big picture. Big government, government intervention, government regulation versus little government, limited government, no government interference, as someone from that side would call it, right? So how do we all feel? Like, what do we think?
If you are a capitalist, which many of us in this room are, it's part of economics. I mean, the role of government is put in place not because government is so benevolent and we want to help the lower people. It's just that when you help a society, when the tide comes in, all the boats come up.
I think there's a tough thing right now because I think there's a misconception right now about free markets, because I think that basically what we have here is we have a lot of government regulation and it's being perceived by the public as being free market, but it's not. I mean, what we have a lot of government regulation. So we don't have free markets right now. And everyone keeps blaming free markets for a lot of what we have going on, but it's just not the truth.
Hold your tongue, hold your tongue. Wait, I want to hear what he has to say because I have no idea where he
That's
stands.
true. I mean, that's how is that? How can you put it away? I want to know
Free
where you're
markets are, first of all, not free, so you're right about that. But they are the culprit for some problems that we're having
Well, like
in
what?
this country and in other countries.
Like what?
The whole mass of immigration into this country because NAFTA.
Let's let Lewis.
Wait,
we're gonna maintain as a real argument that there is a lot of government regulation. We just came off a period of four decades of unfettered government deregulation. Get the fuck out of my face.
Dude, that's
There's no government regulation.
The government.
That's crazy. Are you kidding me?
Everything the government
Glass-Steagall?
does is regulation.
I mean, that was the big thing. Part of Clinton. Clinton was part of deregulation with Glass-Steagall and Lindsey Graham. That's, I mean, so
But-
the whole. I mean,
that's one
what the
example.
fuck are you talking
All
Hey,
about?
hold on, let him answer why,
all
because this is-
presidents and governments do is create regulations. Everything that's happened, Bush, everybody, they all create regulations.
It goes back
That is
to
pure
the-
nonsense.
We have nothing but government agencies up the ass. We have like 1 million government agencies, and all of them are like overlapping in regulation. It's why we have such a clusterfuck in the society of like we have no money. We have like the government payroll is growing and private payroll is shrinking, and it's a complete disconnect. It cannot sustain.
I think a lot of people are
about facts.
confused. I think a lot of people are confused about what the government's actually regulating. I think that there are a lot of little groups within government that are supposedly overseeing certain things, but none of that is really being
And
done.
they're just handing out no bid contracts.
They're
That's what they're doing.
They're just
That's what
figureheads,
they're doing.
and they're allowing business to just run it.
Look at this
any
guy
way they
Joe
wanna
Biden
run it.
apologizing to BP, and he's the head of a committee that oversees that kind of energy stuff, and he's bought off by BP. That's why he's apologizing to BP.
We are talking about regulation of the government. We're talking about an administration that slashed jobs in every single year, and government regulating or agencies like OSHA that regulated the FDA, that slashed all the regulators for that reached the MMS to a certain point where they could offer up regulations, but they didn't have the ability to enforce them. So they would say things like, you need a blowout preventer on your rig, but they didn't have the ability to enforce it, so that they were a toothless organization because they didn't have regulatory
But
power.
at the same time,
because that was
you
the
have to drill in 5,000.
No, that was the Bush
Even-
administration
even-
opening up offshore drilling
Wait,
in May of 2001.
Say it,
Don't give me that
don't
bullshit.
straight. Say it, don't straight.
Cover my
Go,
face.
baby,
Sorry.
go.
I'm sorry.
Even organizations that are supposed to be regulating, like organizations like FEMA, aren't doing their jobs, or at least weren't doing their jobs at all. These are figurehead organizations meant to show that there is some sort of government involvement, but you're right that they're not doing what and they're powerless because we have, as a government, all the policymakers have made it so business can run themselves, which is essentially what you're arguing for, saying that these businesses can self-regulate.
Well, no, but my problem is we have corporatism in this country. What we have right now, what the fuck was that? What we have
Classy joint.